At the end of the day, we want this to be a concept that clarifies things, that we can also use, operationalize gradually. So questions for clarification, maybe at this stage, things where you maybe lost track or you say, oh, this I fully support. For instance, one interesting thing that you will certainly have seen, that the whole concept of territorial approaches to local development is quite aligned to the communication of May 2013, because you stress the need for autonomy, you stress the need for empowering local authorities, you stress the need for territorial approaches. So the policy document of the Commission fits, I think, nicely with this. Voilà, this is only one aspect. Reactions, clarifications, we take 15 minutes. Voilà, yes, who wants to, yes. And it's also good that we have very different people here. You saw the urban agenda was here, the rural development agenda was here, the sector people were here somewhere in your presentation. Madam, Elena.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just a question for clarification. I had the impression that in the model that you have been explaining, there is a kind of consequentio temporis in the sense that before the adoption of TALD, there are compulsory steps. So, for example, decentralization reforms in place, adoption of a local development framework at the national level as a policy in order to little them. I was thinking, but what does it happen if this is not there? And how, on the contrary, if at the local level we do have very active local authorities pushing from the bottom, for example, also using the national association in countries where these actors exist, or partnering, for example, with the active civil society organization or private sector. So I was rather, I'm looking at whether there is the need to go through this order of things to happen, and how to take into account, let's say, active spirits coming from the bottom. Thanks.
Good. We take a few more, Leonard, is that good? Yes. It's good that we also have a lot of civil society people here, because they have a big role to play also in this scheme.
Yes, we've seen this slide showing the added value of local authorities compared to other stakeholders, because they have the political legitimacy, the mandate, and so on. I just would like to know how credibility and capacity feature into this picture. Let's say poor credibility or poor capacity could not hamper on this reasoning, and what we can do about it.
Good. Some other questions, clarifications?
Thank you. I would like, during the morning, if you can expand a little bit when you speak about active participation of the private sector, co-production arrangement, and basically how do you see the relation in a development context between the local development, the local authorities, and the private sector development?
Yeah. Okay, maybe one more. Somewhere. Yes. Experiences from the regions.
Yes, indeed, we are also in a process in cohesion policy to actually go directly in this direction. Many things to say, but one clarification question is actually that very often the discussion comes to what about how to reconcile flexibility with a sort of level of control. How can we make sure that this local development is then actually doing what we want, perhaps at a higher level, to avoid that they do whatever they want, and especially with risk to how to prevent the local mayor, perhaps all of our funds to be perhaps negative in that way. So this discussion very often comes back, and then of course the way is, well, we can can control, we can check that everything goes according to the rules and according to good practices, but that then often kills the sort of these own local initiatives, this local spirit. I think you call this also, as a sort of solution, I understand, accountability. And I'd like to know a bit more what you mean with this accountability. This term comes back, but it's not very clear. Is it democratic accountability, or do you actually mean this financial control, that they should be checked, or so that's something I would be interested to know more.
Thank you. Well, this is only the beginning of our brainstorming. Leonardo, any first reactions?
Okay, yeah, I'll try to be very brief because I think we can continue this discussion many of these things later on. First of all, no, I think I do this. First of all, on the different steps, don't be fooled by the logic and the sequencing. We need to have in the back of our mind some sort of normative understanding and normative tools. Having said that, I am the first to realize that actually you won't be able to do everything at the same time and so on. The important, there's one important observation to make about decentralization reforms. If decentralization reforms are political and they are done for something else, at the same time, what happens is that they open space for opportunities that you must understand and must capture, and they may concern a particular aspect of the framework. So there is no need to have a sequence of steps in implementing. You can use opportunities, windows of opportunities that open up because of the political initiatives on several fronts. It could be an opportunity to devolve functions. It could be an opportunity to create new and better forms of local governance. It could be opportunity to involve civil society in dialogue with the local government. I mean, many things can happen. And definitely we don't have to be systematic in the implementation. Actually, we should be the contrary of systematic. We should be as opportunistic as we can, and understand the opportunities as they arise. The lack of credibility and capacity are critical issues, and then yes, they could deny all the advantages that were listed in all the comparative advantages that were listed in the frame. But I think we'll have time to discuss more in detail what it means, this lack of credibility and capacity. I think we will come back again in the discussion. Active participation of the private sector. One of the, clearly, one of the messages is the local authorities should try to be as much as possible the director of the orchestra rather than the one who plays the instruments, and we should have increasing role of private sector in delivering services, but also there are a number of other initiatives which are being taken, and a number of new forms, foundation, trust funds, and so on, that take responsibilities of local authorities, which call for a new look at how the local government should interact with private sector beyond the traditional public-private partnerships and help in financing infrastructure investment. And finally, accountability. Accountability. We didn't have the time to go through the slides, but I always think of two things: democratic accountability, downward accountability through forms that allow for participation in policy making and for social auditing, but I also am concerned about state support and supervision of the local authorities, systems for state support and supervision of the local authorities, which are usually not, I mean, they are incredibly, in a sense, they are, because one would expect the central government being, the stronger partner that sets up a proper mechanism for support and supervision. Actually, they are failing miserably on that, which is the main purpose of the central government. They are failing to establish a proper systems of support and supervision, and they continue to go from one extreme to the other, from lack of control and the example I was making of Vietnam is one, to systems that actually kill autonomy. So this is a critical point. If you only think of how the Ministry of Planning, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Local Governments in the countries fight one another in terms of who should do what to supervise, to make accountable the local authorities, and they cannot find among themselves a proper system, and they overlap one another. It's terrible. So I think it's a major and often not enough well explored and well supported dimension of the success of decentralization reforms, which brings us back to sort of a general statement that only strong state decentralize well.